Welcome to the Houston Hustle, the podcast that spotlights the movers, the makers, and the doers shaping the city we love. Each week, we sit down with Houston's top entrepreneurs to talk who they are, how they built it, the principles that drive them, and what success means beyond the highlight reel. This is Real Hustle, real stories, real Houston. Welcome to Houston Hustle. I'm Dr. Paige Ward.
And I'm Dr. Charlie Ward.
And today we have our guest, Dr. Steffie Tompson with Steffies. So tell us about who you are and what you do.
I am, Dr. Steffie Tompson. I am a native Houstonian, and right now I run a business where I am a shoe designer, and I have my own line of heels and fancy shoes for women who need to walk all day, need to look professional, and just need to take care of their bodies at the same time.
Love this. So how did you get started in this?
That's a little bit of a story. So my background is in neuroscience and cognitive neuroscience, and I was a professor here in Houston at Baylor College of Medicine, and all professional and dressed up, walking around this enormous campus, 80 acres in the med center is huge. And having to go from meeting to meeting while wearing heels, while looking professional, and then showing up at a meeting not completely exhausted because I walked in heels, having to bargain like, okay, well, can I pay for the closer parking today so that I don't have to do as many steps, or do I have to order DoorDash for lunch because I can't make it all the way to the, lunch cafeteria because I have 3 other faraway meetings. So I have to take care of myself, or did I have to bring another bag of shoes or a bag of flats, or this just the mental calculus of having to get around a large space and together. It's just nuts. Yeah. And when I kind of looked around, I realized, first of all, none of the women had solved this problem. They were all walking around in the same shoes I had. But also none of the men ever even knew this was a problem, nor had they ever gone through this.
Sure, they'd ever
thought, right? So sometimes I'd be in meetings and they'd say, hey, why don't we just walk over the commons? Let's just grab it. We'll just do a walk and talk. And I'm looking at them for who?
You're like, please don't.
Please, no, right? No, thank you. Can we just sit and talk? Or Anyway, I realized I was missing out on opportunities, specifically seminars or going to after hours, happy hours or things, because I was wearing heels and I hadn't planned for that, and so I'm like, look, I'm a neuroscientist and I'm making a choice not to go to a seminar that I really want to learn from because I wear these heels today and I just can't get there. Or, I'm on my way home and I need to pick up Tylenol for the baby, and I'm Googling drive-through pharmacies because I can't possibly imagine walking anymore to go, it was just ridiculous. So I was thinking about how much I was thinking about my wardrobe, specifically my shoes. And one day I was kind of noodling around in the orthotics and prosthetics lab where I was teaching for a few months, and they have all these wonderful materials. They have plastics and metals and foams and plaster, and they build all these magical things for patients who need orthosis or a prosthesis. And so I had access to all this material, and I thought, hey, there are some foams out here that are really quite dense, but they're still foam, so they still absorb. Why can't we take those foams to heels? So then I took some heels and I sliced them in half with a bandsaw down in the lab. My colleague Jeremy did it for me. And I'm sitting there watching, and we're thinking you just slice a heel and then you just open it up and see. But all of a sudden the bandsaw starts breaking.
Oh no.
And then we had to change the blade because inside of the heels is all rigid plastic and metal, steel jinks and nails. It looked
Very, very rigid material.
Oh, it was absolutely unforgiving.
Yeah.
And I look at this, we look at it, and here they are, literally materials experts. And I'm thinking there's no possible way for a woman to be comfortable with these materials. And here I was, as are all women, gaslighting myself into thinking it's my feet. This is a comfortable brand, Naturalizer, Soft, whatever. Surely there's something wrong with me. And then I open up these heels and I think, nope, they did that on purpose.
Yeah, that's not.
And there's nothing to be done about it. So I started kind of playing around and exploring with different types of foam, and figured out that you can in fact build a heel with foam, without the plastic and the metal, so that you can absorb the shock of your step. And you can design it to look nice.
Yeah.
So I did, and we've been in business for 5 years. Yeah, five and a half years. Yeah. So that's where I am right now. Yeah.
That is so cool. Have you always had like an affinity for designing things, or was this like a newfound passion?
Well, it's not. It was, I mean, like a lot of innovation, it just didn't exist. And I think especially I was at a moment in my career where I was ascending quickly, and I was being judged against and by my male peers. And the more I thought about this, the more I realized how much this was holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious solution would be like, well, okay, Steffi, just wear sneakers all day. Okay, but like realistically, I can't go in giving presentations in front of an entire, teaching classes wearing sneakers. Like that's just not really
professional.
It's not professional. It's not well accepted, at least here in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're in Silicon Valley, that's one thing.
Right.
But the vast majority of us aren't. And, so it just felt like I saw the problem when I explored the shoe, the heel that was, sliced in half. I realized this is a pervasive. It's not just a me. This is everyone. And not only that, but the industry is telling us, spending all this marketing dollars telling us that this is going to be the next comfortable heel.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's really going to be comfortable. And they do all these tricks to trick us into buying these shoes. They place like little bits of foam in certain places where they know we're going to feel and squish when we pick it up off the shelf. And so we say this will be comfortable, when in fact the physics of that just don't work.
Yeah.
There's not enough. They put like 2 to 3 millimeters of foam, and then everything else below is plastic and steel. So, I mean, that just isn't.
No, I mean, I wear flats because same thing. Like listening to you, I was like, oh my gosh, that's me, because I'm like, there must be something wrong. And I can never wear heels longer than like an hour or two, and then you're taking them off and being like, oh my gosh, my feet hurt so bad.
And not only that, but it's like your body is tired because your knees and your hips and your back hurt.
Everything hurts with it.
And your brain is tired because you're always doing this mental juggling of, okay, well, that's the only seat in the room, so I need to get to that corner of the room so that I can maybe sit for a little while. And like, God forbid you go to a conference with cocktail tables. I mean, that's like every woman's worst nightmare.
Yes.
You're looking around at all these tables and everyone's standing, and you're like, oh my God, I hope these are sturdy so I can lean a little bit, or,
take some pressure off.
Take some pressure, or like, can I squeeze away, like to walk all the way up to my hotel so I can, put on different shoes to come back.
It's a lot.
It's so much. And I'm so jealous that men don't have those things, because realistically, men just don't put up with that.
No.
The vast majority of men don't.
No, they would.
If they have a shirt that's too tight, or a blazer that's, tighter on one sleeve than the other, or if they have bra straps that fall down or something, like, it just goes in the trash. Like,
yes.
Literally, you're like, nope, not going to do it. Goodwill pile.
We dress for comfort.
Yeah, it's just like
even ties nowadays, and the suit jackets are kind of out of style because it's hot and it's uncomfortable for us. So
yeah, and like, your blazers are made out of like athletic material. Sometimes, you can put like panels in them so that it's more breathable. Exactly. All kinds of tricks, because I mean, again, like, men won't buy something if it doesn't 100% work.
But women will make it work, and it's gonna. Yeah, it looks nice. So
yeah, I don't know. Have y'all seen this like trend on social media where men, when they go out with their wives or girlfriends wearing heels, they will slip a pair of flats in their boot or in their pant sock, because like they know the woman is going to need it. Which I think is hilarious all by itself. But then there's the added layer of them complaining that this shoe is rubbing. Can you please wear these flats? Because I don't want to I don't want to feel this anymore. And it just kind of feeds into this whole, in the cognitive space, our sensory environment is crucial to us, right? It's crucial to our survival. It tells us how we can be safe. It tells us if there's some danger. And there really is no way to cognitively just decide to override those sensations. So in this tiny example of a heel, you have this thing that's always pinging you all day long. And your brain is designed not to let you forget that. So let's imagine I'm sitting there trying to write a lecture, or I'm writing code to do an analysis. I'm continually being pained by my feet that are sore, or by a waistband that's too tight, or, whatever, a ponytail, like a tension headache. Yes. Ponytail's too tight, or an earring that's too dangly. It's, that stuff builds up. It's real.
Yeah, it affects it in more ways than...
Exactly. And the price you pay for that is cognitive. You can't focus nearly as well with all of those distractions. And we all know that anecdotally because, in COVID, we're all sitting around in sweatpants and our bosses are like, I don't know if you can work remotely. We're like, dude, you have no idea how comfortable I am right now. Do you have no idea how much work I'm getting done? Because I don't have to get dressed. I don't have to commute. I don't have to wear heels. And I definitely don't have to deal with all this.
Micro traumas throughout the day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a big deal.
No, absolutely. I think it's brilliant. Very, very cool. So how did you start to market yourself for this?
Good question. So we started basically just doing small markets where I was just, had a table and a little cloths and shoes, and we would just chat with women. And then we sort of moved into more of the digital space. We did some advertising locally in Houston, but now we are entirely e-commerce. And so we're doing all of our marketing digitally online with ads. And then, a separate kind of parallel line in our advertising is me talking about this message and the mission of...
Well, that's something that's really relatable to people. So even like I said, when you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, I totally relate to that. I never wear heels is because there is no comfortable heel. That's really good.
Well, they're a lot more comfortable.
Yes.
Because the materials are different. And we've done some engineering to think about the body's work and how we move forward with momentum. But I think there's still so much work to be done. If I had all the budget in the world, I would go back into the lab and I'd re-engineer some things. And, our shoe is special because the foam really absorbs the shock. Great. Way better than the industry standard. But what if you could go into that foam and some energy back? If you could give a little bit of a spring in your step. All that exists. It's, possible. It just needs to be done. And it's just not the way the industry works to be that detail oriented on shoes, because their goal is to get a shoe on and off the shelf as quickly as possible.
And for as little as possible. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So that's just a set of incentives. I'm lucky that I get to take on this challenge.
That's so cool.
Because the big companies just aren't. They're not really interested.
No, absolutely not.
They'll be interested as soon as I start. Yeah, then they'll be interested. But right now they're like, nah, we're just going to see how this goes.
Yeah, no, I get it. So you said that, you're in the e-commerce world now. How was that a learning curve for you?
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. No disrespect, but starting a business and working in marketing, all of the things that it takes to start a brand and a product and get it into people's hands is far more challenging for me than anything was in neuroscience.
It's a whole different beast.
It's a completely different. It's not even about hard or easy. It just, when I started, I thought, okay, first of all, I was naive and I thought if I build a great product, people will come to buy it. Absolutely.
Not everybody feels that way. That's even chiropractic. We're like, oh, you're really, everyone's going to want to come see you. And it's not like that.
It's so naive. I'm so embarrassed to admit that I was there. And I had to really teach myself, Steffi, you cannot continue to innovate in this product, in this space, until you have customers who are sustaining the business.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
You could spend your entire year going to continuing education and doing all this stuff. But if you're not bringing people into the clinic, you can't afford to go into all this.
Right, exactly.
So at some point, you just have to make it work. Anyway, it's, and then with all the material that, I thought also, okay, well, people are going to really trust this because it comes from a neuroscientist. It's good. They're going to trust it because it's a woman, because it's a this. And that's all true.
And also
you can't just say, hey, I'm a woman and I'm doing this.
Right.
You need to put it in the customer's perspective. It's not about me. It's about you. This is what I'm doing for you. And that's in fact very true. I didn't do this for me. I did it for women. But framing that in a way that is compelling was definitely a reframe, especially because in academia, we all did this. We wanted to, and so we studied, and then we found, in a consumer world, it's about the consumer.
Yeah.
You, the consumer. I did this for you.
Exactly. What you bring to the table that's going to positively impact their life that they actually care about. Right?
Yeah.
So for sure, that's a huge thing. And I feel like also marketing is constantly evolving. Like you have to constantly keep learning and being like, okay, what else can we do now? So yes, I feel you in that because I have had to go through those things. And it's just like, what?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, you're right. Like the rules are always changing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They're always changing. I was just at a meeting earlier this week and they're like, we know that you used to post a lot of this, but now we're going to be posting this. And I'm like, where was the memo?
Right? When did this change?
When should this, nobody told me, but they know because they go to these conferences and stuff and they hear, and every once in a while periodically they'll have to get into our Meta, like the Facebook Meta platform, the back-end business suite, which is chaos.
Yes, I know.
It's absolute chaos. Every time I have to get in, whoever tells me what they need says, here's where you go. And this is the menu. It's on the left-hand side. And then you click that. And then you're going to go to users. And then and it's never right.
It's never right.
It's never, ever once been correct.
No, I know.
And every time I have to go back to them, like, I'm a relatively smart person. This doesn't exist. I need you to walk me through it again. Honestly,
explain to me like I'm 5, please, because this is not like, no, I watched, I have a business coach and she has a lot of really great resources. Mm-hmm. And there was a Facebook marketer or Meta. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, these are all the things that you can do. And I'm like, taking my notes. And I go in and I'm like, none of that exists.
None of it exists.
And it's not even that old. It was like from last year. And
don't forget it. This stuff changes.
Right. Like it's insane. And so it's like
weekly.
And, like when we first started at our office here, we did Facebook ads and it was like, we have so many people coming in. It was so easy. And now it's like, they're not that great. And you hardly get those same things. And so you're like, okay, now what do we do? And it's constantly evolving. So I feel your pain because it's a whole different world.
It is. And I was just reading an article the other day that like all these millennial companies that kind of really exploded with the e-commerce. And they thought, okay, we don't have to invest in brick and mortar. We can invest in our digital space. Started just like you did with Facebook. Was so easy. Yeah. Like you put it out there and people come. And now they're really struggling because the space is so crowded.
Yes.
Going back to maybe we should open up a brick and mortar. Maybe we should figure out how to be more personal. And I think that's just like a pendulum swing of industry.
Yeah, it's going to be that way.
Yeah.
That's a good combination of things of being present e-commerce and then also just being in the community and meeting people too. So it's always a fun game, right?
It's literally a game. And every once in a while I look up and I think, how did we get here? Because there's no playbook. My best playbook right now is AI.
Yes, I know.
I've renamed Claudia, and
she's so helpful.
She's so helpful. She and I talk all the time, and I go back and I'm like, this menu option doesn't exist. And she'll say, oh, you're right. That was changed 6 days ago. Let me update. Okay, here's where you're going to click. Or
no, I do that with like ChatGPT. Although I've heard Claude is really great. I have a whole training I'm intending to go on that, but it's always something.
They're both great. I mean, they're at this point, they're just toggling back and forth.
Yeah.
I prefer Claudia, but like, I feel like she's a woman. Like, she knows a lot.
Yeah, she's so helpful.
Yeah. Yes. She's also very encouraging, which I like.
Yes. You can do no wrong. That's a great idea.
I know.
It isn't just this, it's innovation.
I actually sometimes choose to dial that down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's as creative an idea as you think it was.
And I think you can see it too on social media. Like I can point out right away. I'll be like, oh, you use this to make caption because like that's so obvious. M dashes and like it's not this, it's this. Right. Oh Lord, okay.
Yeah.
So I agree. You have to kind of give it instructions and be like, I don't want you to do this. I want you to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole back there of the MD files and how to set it. Anyway, that's a whole
nother discussion.
But it is very helpful nonetheless.
Yes. So where do you want your business to go?
Good question. So right now we are in the process of getting ourselves into Nordstrom.
Look at you. I love Nordstrom.
Did you? Thanks, Nordstrom. Are about to launch.
Sponsor us.
Hi there. We're going to launch online in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we're gearing up for that. And we're really just trying to get we're trying to get the shoes in as many places as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. To get that name recognition and also just more availability.
We're trying to grow. And then, the more we grow, the more we can develop or innovate. And the more we do that, the more we can kind of like poke ourselves into fabric of the existing footwear industry. And, hopefully someone at some point will take notice and, at least start to produce more shoes the way we do. That's the ultimate goal, really. Getting into Nordstrom is, of course, a big accomplishment, and I'm very proud of it.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. And it's part of that is so important because shoes are a fitted product. And one of the things that we, really don't think about as women is that our feet are very complicated and they're very different from each other, right? And from my feet are different from your feet, even though we might be the same size, all like anatomy, etc. But a lot of women don't really know that or think about it. And it's so important to have access to something like Nordstrom so you can go in and feel the shoe. I've re-engineered advice that I give to women when they try on our shoes. And I say, you need to like put it on and you need to walk around your house for 5 minutes and you need to not be looking at your feet. Go do something in your house that it has nothing to do with your shoes. Go, walk out to the garage.
Go get the mail.
Go into the kitchen and like scoop up all the, broke glasses that your family has all over the house, whatever, like collect them in the kitchen because you want to be able to forget your shoes. And if you're walking around on, like in a limited environment, you're looking at them and you're looking at how they feel and you're like really looking at how they look. Where are the mirrors, right? How does it look with this pant or whatever? Even when we're in stores, I'll say, just put them on and walk around, give it 5 minutes and let me know how you feel. And if they feel like they've disappeared, then that's the shoe for you. And if not, then it's not the shoe for you. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be. It's all.
Absolutely. We have different, like you were saying, so much different anatomy. Even like my feet, I didn't realize this, but one foot is like longer than the other foot.
Yeah.
And like you have flat footed and high arches and
toe box.
Yes.
All sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. And that's not even to talk about like bunions, injuries or foot surgery or, and I always just feel bad. Inevitably, there are women who will come try on our shoes and they'll say, oh, I really want this to work. Like, I really, really want it, but my feet are weird. That's the number one. I just need to start a company with it. Your feet are weird. They're just your feet. Like, there's just no way.
Different.
There's no everybody's different. Like, you can't. And anyway, it makes me feel sad that we kind of like ask ourselves into the fact that we are the problem when in fact the industry is the problem.
Exactly.
And we just got to do our best. One thing that's.
So that is so cool that you're getting into Nordstrom's. What was the process of it? Like, you have to go through a whole bunch of hoops?
Yes. I mean, of course. Buyers are hard to get a hold of by design. They don't want to get inundated. I ended up hiring a distributor who has existing relationships with larger. Well, I mean, it was smart eventually when I got there. Yes. I thought, I don't need a distributor. I can do this by myself. Sure can. But so they set up the relationships and it took a while. I mean, it's, they're not
quick to jump into it right away.
Right? Of course, they don't want to gamble on somebody who's only been in business for 5 years, right? Yeah. So, but we've done a lot of work expanding the brand. There's a lot of thought work behind it, leadership, our design is beautiful. The box is gorgeous. Like, it really fits it.
Aesthetic is very,
it fits into our Nordstrom customer. So it does work for them. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes.
It's cool. How do you, I just want to know, this is so kind of, but how do you keep coming up with designs?
So that, I mean, just life, basically just living the shoes. I've now had to get rid of my entire shoe closet. I was forced to after because my feet grew a little.
Yeah, people do. That's another thing we never talk about is looking at all feet change during pregnancy.
Exactly, it changed. I'm sure they change during adolescence for sure, during menopause, during pregnancy, after pregnancy. Yep. I mean, the amount of change our bodies go through is ridiculous. So I rely on the shoes that I design by remembering shoes that I used to rely on. Mm-hmm. So our two most popular shoes are the first two that I designed, which is a heel, one in a tan color and one in a black. Tan and black, those are like if I'm going to go buy any new shoe, usually I'll start with those two. And they're by far our most popular. And then I think about, well, I do want to have a flat, but true flat is not really great for us. So I designed another wedge that was just a little bit shorter with the same foam, which we call Rome foam. So Rome foam is the foundation of any shoe we'll ever design. It's always Rome foam. And so our flat is like a 3/4 inch wedge. So it's flat, but it's a little bit of an angle, which kind of helps. And then so really I'm just designing on top of that. So if I want a rounded toe, fine. If I want a cap toe, okay. If I want a strap, and I can pull from everywhere inspiration for that.
Absolutely.
And my challenge is to take those designs, like if I want to make a Mary Jane, or working on right now a gold sandal, like for summer scissors, also on our Rome foam. But now what I'm working on is how do I make sure that those straps, or how do I reduce the likelihood that those straps are going to rub or cause blisters? And how do I make sure that those straps are going to keep the shoe on your foot? Because the last thing you also want to do is worry about stepping out of a shoe.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a whole nother process. So for me, it's really about inspiration from classic designs. I start classics, and then making sure that I do the very best job that I can to make them work on the foot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think about that. Yes, I've stepped out of shoes before with straps because they don't fit well or whatever. And that is cool. I like to hear how your mind's working on this, because I feel like your background and everything and being innovative and thinking on that helps at the end of this. Mm-hmm. Because there is a lot to think about. I'm sure you've learned more about like feet.
Oh.
Yeah, ever before.
Feet and joints and, yeah, I mean, but it's fascinating. I mean, I taught anatomy and physiology for a while, and that it's funny how, when people say like, how did you get where you are? And if you think about my past and history, all these things sure did lead me to this place. Like my experience as a scientist, my, the scientific method, but then also teaching in a classroom, teaching neuroscience, working in the orthotics and prosthetics department. I think, being a mom, like all these pieces of my life, I draw upon, and they help inform. It helps inform where I am now and where I get to go, which is really kind of lucky place to be.
It was like all prepping you for this.
Kind of, it feels like it. Or I've just made the best and
right. Yeah, absolutely. How do you handle like the work balance?
There is none.
Right. I know. I think it's not a thing either.
There's zero. It changes just like everything. When my girls were little, they're 11 and 10 right now. And so when they were little, I mean, there was no balance. There was no work. It was just working, but it was really just the family.
Yeah.
And then we got into a place where I had a little bit of balance, where I could do work and then family in the evening. But I really was mostly working at the very beginning of the business.
You have to hustle and work hard.
Yeah, just all the time, working, thinking, etc. Now I've learned how to structure the business with policies, procedures, people.
Yeah, SOPs.
Exactly. So that I don't have to be doing it all the time. And that has freed up quite a bit of time so that I now am able to pick up my kids from school. I can go to their swim practice and stuff, and I'm not unable, which is great. But I'm also not feeling guilty about it, because that's just
absolutely, brain's not constantly going back to that, which is
it is. And it also required a bit of a mind shift too, because when I started, I was very much in that hustle, right? Like I was pretending I'm in Silicon Valley, right? Like, okay, well, I guess I've stayed up till midnight, and I guess I have to do this. And well, if I'm with family and something happened, oh my gosh, something happened in the business, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. And it was like simultaneously frustrating and I gotta do it.
Right.
Okay, I'm a small business owner, I gotta get myself in there. Now, literally yesterday, I was having lunch with someone and my phone rang twice, from one from an employee and one from a service provider, because our AC had gone out. I knew that it had gone out, but I also knew that I wasn't going to pick up these calls because it needed them to be handled by someone else.
Yeah.
Right. And
delegating.
Yeah. I'm like, look, worst case scenario, the AC is still out when I'm done with this meeting. Y'all need it.
Right.
And then of course, the first thing I did is, as soon as I was done, is I called. I'm like, is this able? How are we doing? But it's like raising a child a little bit. Like, you're in it intensely for a while.
Yes.
But then you realize that this will never succeed if I have to be.
Yes, you have to remove yourself to some point. If you were on a desert island, how would your business still function, right? Like, what would fall apart?
Right.
So I love that. And it sounds like you have that, this whole concept of like this, for me, it's like, you can have this and like, it doesn't just have to be, I'm just a mom, I'm just a business owner. You can have both of those things. It's just figuring out that system. And it sounds like you're going to really do that.
I mean, I'm trying.
It's learning, right?
It's different.
Evolving, and some things are better than others, obviously.
Of course. Yeah. And it's not even about having it all as much as, in my mind, having peace about what you have.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. That's so cool. Well, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, let's see. So we have a website. Yeah. So it's steffies.us. And we have social media, which is at Shop Steffies. So we're on Instagram, Facebook. For me personally, you can email me. My email is steffi@steffies.us. There's lots of Steffi in there.
Easy to remember.
I was filling out your form.
Steffi.
Everywhere. It's a little bit, but I love talking to people, and like, I love talking to customers. It's something that actually I'm kind of adapting to a little bit as we move into the more digital space and into the Nordstrom space. I try really hard, at least 1 or 2 markets anyway a year, because I want to meet with customers. I want to see what happens when they put on the shoes. I want to see how they feel, hear what they say. And I think that's a really important thing.
Keeping in touch with your customer.
Yeah. It's easy to get distanced. And now while I have the time, I can stay in touch as much as possible.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on our podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll see you all next week. You've been listening to Houston Hustle, celebrating the entrepreneurs who are shaping our city. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone building their own dream. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep hustling.